Is a healthcare career right for you? So, as a career counselor, I meet people often that are drawn to a career in healthcare because they're inspired to care for and help others. But a large chunk of people I meet are also, nudged and encouraged to pursue healthcare fields simply because of the positive things they hear about it from loved ones, friends, or family. Such as, oh, it's a stable career. It provides you a good work schedule. You make a decent salary without much school. Oh, your aunt's a nurse. That's a good job. And of course, shows like Grey's Anatomy, The Good Doctor, New Amsterdam, ER, Nurse Jackie, House. They portray healthcare workers in a certain light that may or may not always be an accurate representation. Others have cared for or currently care for a sick loved one, and perhaps now they would like to get training and work in a field to do so in a better way. So there's tons of reasons why people go into healthcare. However, I really want to take some time to have you guys really reflect and meaningfully ask yourself, is this field possibly a good fit for you? I think it's definitely a very promising field, but let's get started with some questions. So, number one, are you someone that actually cares truly about other people? Care to help is a powerful motivation to pursue a medical career or a career in any kind of allied health field. So if you're empathetic and love helping people, a healthcare career might be an obvious choice. The majority of these positions involve some sort of patient care. So that's, you have to consider working with other human lives. That's an extremely important trait to possess. So each day, for example, you'll be interacting with patients from all walks of life. Working with different types of personalities and attitudes is crucial. So no matter whether you're a neurodiagnostic tech who keeps patients calm during procedures, or say you're a medical biller who goes above and beyond to ensure great customer service, you're letting people know that they're cared for. Another question, are you excited by the idea of lifelong learning? So the best healthcare practitioners are committed to giving their patients the best possible. These healthcare practitioners prioritize then keeping up with the latest developments in the field. In other words, they're continuing to study and learn long after their initial training and schooling ends. So if you have a similar interest in getting additional training and always reading medical journals or seeing what the current field has to offer, it's a good idea to consider entering the healthcare field. Another question, are you comfortable in a fast-paced healthcare setting? So how do you feel about facing life and death situations on a daily basis? In many healthcare positions, you'll spend much of your time in the company of sick, disabled, or dying people. Sometimes you might even lose a patient. And that's the sad reality. And it's common and it happens in this field. Are you going to be able to move past these tragic situations to see the amount of good that you do for those people that you help? And you also, again, need to be realistic with yourself. You may come home and have some of these thoughts with you. It's not like something that you could just clock out and then turn that piece of your mind off. If you have a patient who you had a real connection with, or you want to see them get better and they're not, how is that going to affect you personally? Are you a team player? So, healthcare is increasingly focused on teamwork and communication, especially as patients' recovery truly depends more and more on how well each member of the team performs his or her specific function and how well they collaborate with one another. So like even dentists or say chiropractors, most of whom work in solo private practice, like let's take dentists. I mean, they're supervising and working closely with several staff members. So like there's the front desk, there's the dental assistants, the medical assistants, the dental hygienist. There could be an office manager. So choosing a healthcare position, you'll want to consider the amount of actual teamwork it requires to ensure if it's a good fit for you and your working style. Lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle do you envision for yourself? So depending on the path that you want to choose to go down, you may end up working through emergencies on a daily basis. You may work extremely long hours and shoulder heavy responsibility. You're at the point where I guess you need to be realistic with yourself. If you don't mind working long work days, It's very likely in a hospital setting, you may work graveyard shifts. You may work 12, 13-hour shifts. You have to be good at handling stress and responsibility. If so, then, you may want to go ahead and pursue a career that will have some demands on you. You also need to consider that hospitals just don't shut down during holidays. So you may be working Christmas, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, New Year's Day. Also, you also need to consider if you'd rather have a job with regular hours and fewer medical crises. If that's the case, then there's plenty, trust me, there's plenty of other fulfilling healthcare careers to consider as well. And finally, are you self-motivated? Imagine the repercussions if healthcare workers were just simply satisfied with being mediocre. It would probably be a disaster. So to be successful in a field like this, you have to not only be detail-oriented, organized, and committed to doing your best, but you also should likely be someone who prides themselves on always putting their best work forward. And if so, this could be a really great field for you to pursue. I'd say the main takeaway for this topic is thinking about how healthcare is such a vast field and it offers a range of diverse opportunities. But the key is that you want to do your research before deciding on any kind of position, just to make sure it's going to be one that's a really good fit for you. And that's something you're definitely going to have an opportunity to do in this class. So the reason I'm talking about this subject right now in particular is that it kind of sets up the tone for the purpose of the first few topics you're going to get in this class. So I want to get you thinking about why. Why do you want to work in healthcare, and realistically consider if it's going to be a good fit. If you're saying, yes, I think this is going to be a good fit, then we got to think about what setting do you want to actually be in? What kind of environment? From that point, you want to gain awareness of where are these jobs located? Who's hiring? What's the growth and projections of the occupation? Is this field dead end? Is it evolving? Why do I want to be a part of it? There are so many pieces of the puzzle. Like on one hand, you get to know what your options are out there, but then another facet is that you need to know how much education you need, what the requirements are, how are you going to get into these programs, how competitive are they, how long are they, can I work while I'm in school? Then once you're actually working, what does the actual day-to-day job look like? And this is something you probably should be very highly aware of even before starting classes and prerequisites, just so that you're more informed. In other words, what will you do on the job? What will your day look like? Are you going to be working graveyard? A lot of times in the healthcare or hospital setting, you might be working starting 6 or 7 at night and working till 6, 7, 8 in the morning. What's that going to, how is that going to impact your day life, your family? Also considering who do you want to work with? Again, like I mentioned, you're going to be part of a patient care team. What's the room for advancement? What are some challenges? Are you someone that gets really bored easily? If so, you got to know what other specialty areas or additional training you can do in order to not get, dissatisfied with your workspace. How much money will you earn? That's something that's also very important. What do benefits look like? Is it a career that will be phasing out? Okay, but before we do any kind of career research, career decision-making is really huge, and choosing a major is as well. So there's actually a difference between looking for a career and searching for a major. So for example, in the initial stage of any kind of decision-making, you want to determine what your focus is. So people that are looking for, a career path may desire to invest time in preparing for a specific career and then may choose a major to support that choice. So in the context of healthcare, you might want to become, say, a doctor, and you may choose a science-based major to prepare for graduate work in medical school. Again, that's not always the case. You can be an art major and still be a doctor, but for the most part, some people may choose a particular major that prepares them for a certain career. A great example of that is nursing. Or what a lot of other students are looking for is a major. People who are focused on choosing a major may have an interest in a wide variety of careers, and they don't want to pigeonhole themselves in any one specific area. They want to study something they enjoy, they can see themselves taking 20 plus classes in, and they're going to do well in it because they're excited to learn about it. Like I mentioned, some majors like nursing, if you do an RN program, you're going to spend 2 years learning about nursing. You're going to get the specific training for it, and you're very likely going to work in nursing. You can't typically have a nursing major and be, a respiratory therapist or a radiologic technologist. That's a little bit different, or be a dentist. However, a broader major, you can do a lot of options. So, for example, as a psychology major, you might become a psychologist or a licensed clinical social worker or a psychometrist. As a business major, you might go into some kind of healthcare administration work or a management position within healthcare. A kinesiology major might be an athletic trainer with a sports team, or they might be a physical therapist, occupational therapist, an exercise physiologist, a communications major. A lot of people are like, health, there's a disconnect there, but there's actually not. Like, what if you wanted to work in public health promotion or disease prevention? You could be an environmental health advocate. You could be a speech language pathologist specializing in communicative disorders. A biology major can do really cool careers like forensics. You could be a cytotechnologist, like a clinical lab scientist. More and more are going into crime scene investigation or crime scene investigator. If you're an art major, you can be a medical illustrator, and the list goes on.